One aspect of financial abuse that I think that we should talk about is the expectation that, hey, you need to bankroll the lifestyle of my family and my friends in addition to me. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I think Erykah Badu sang about this, when she talked about you better call Tyrone, and she talked about in her lyrics that that he wanted her to pay his way and his homeboy's way and sometimes his cousin's way, but that's an interesting song, but this actually is something that really happens to a lot of victims of financial abuse when they're in a relationship, and maybe they are the earner, maybe they are the one who is responsible with the money. But if you're in a relationship with a predatory person, sometimes what they'll do is they'll sing you a sob story and tell you that they ain't got it, but they that they want to flex like they have it, like they have the money, and they have the ability to go out and splurge on a lifestyle which they can't afford. And so what they ask you to do, hey, you pay for it. You pay for my family. You pay for my friends. I want to go to the club. I want to go out and eat at the nice restaurant, but I want you to dig down in your purse or, wallet, switch the roles to whomever it applies to. And I want you to bankroll my lifestyle, and that's my expectation. And if you don't, I may be violent towards you. I may be condescending and degrading and verbally abusive towards you, psychologically and emotionally abusive. I may do all the things and really just show myself because I want this from you, and my expectation is you should cover it. I think another, good example of this happening was on reality television. Back in the day, back when I was younger, I used to watch, I think it was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And back then, it was an episode where Erica Dixon was dating a guy, that was not the father of her child. And she was so in love, but this guy, he didn't have any money. And, when they were going out to eat, he was like, slide me your card and make it look like he's paying for it when really she was the one paying for it. And I think, I think that's one of the times that I can actually remember that occurring, like on reality TV, and just I remember there being like all this buzz about that moment on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And this isn't a negative spiel about her or anything like that. The reality is this actually happens a lot more, than people realize. I'm sure that people who are servers at restaurants, people who work at shoe stores or in the malls or, or even like hotels, luxury places. I'm sure they probably have a lot of stories to tell. And, there's even like memes, of women who pay when they go out to eat or when they go grocery shopping, and, how the guy is always like hugging the woman in a certain way from behind. And that's how that she's paying every time they get up to the register. It's like that hug her from behind, like, you got this, baby, and I'm going to give you some loving for it. And I appreciate you. I appreciate mama taking care of me, financially. But there's many women, unfortunately, who kind of get caught up in these situations where they're forced, or men, where they're kind of forced to bankroll this lifestyle. Otherwise, they may meet, a pretty nasty person behind closed doors. So let me know what your thoughts are if you've experienced this, if you've seen this, Maybe you've worked in retail or the restaurant industry, and you've seen this happen where it's a form of financial abuse where the women are forced to pay, or the expectation is they have to cover everyone's tab at the restaurant, and either that or they kind of get dealt with in a way that's very, very aggressive and not so nice. But like, share, comment, and follow. Thanks so much.